Number 4. So we're looking to solve a quadratic equation. Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Looking at my 4 choices, it pretty much tells me that I'm not going to be able to factor this quadratic equation. So in the back of my mind, I now have another process. Either I'm going to use completing the square or the quadratic formula. So first, I'm going to set the quadratic equal to 0, and I prefer to have a positive lead coefficient, not negative. So I'm going to add 1/2 x squared to each side of the equation. 0 equals 1/2 x squared minus 6x plus 20. Well, I've got my positive lead coefficient, and I could very well use the quadratic formula. I would have an a value of 1/2, a b value of -6, and a c value of 20. However, I prefer completing the square. The only issue with my completing the square is that the lead coefficient must be 1. So I'm going to take the entire equation and multiply it by 2. 2 times 0 is still 0. 2 times 1/2 gives me my lead coefficient of 1, 1x squared, minus 12x plus 40. To complete the square, I'm going to group my x terms together, x squared minus 12x, and I'm going to leave some space. That's the value that I will physically add to the equation to complete the square. Equals, I'm going to have to take this positive 40 and move it to the other side of the equation. It will become a negative 40. And to keep the equation balanced, if I've added a value to one side, I must add that same value to the other side. The process to complete the square. X, take half of this value, -6, squared. -6 squared is 36. That's the value I will add to both sides. -40 plus 36 is -4. Now, to get rid of the squared, let's take the square root of each side of the equation. Square root and squaring are inverse operations. They'll cancel each other out. The square root of -4. Well, first remember, I introduced the square root into this problem. So I need to account for both the positive and negative square root value. The square root of a negative is going to yield an imaginary result. So what I really have here is the square root of -1 times the square root of 4. Well, the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of -1 is I, plus or minus 2i. Let's now add 6 to each side, and x is equal to 6 plus or minus 2i. Choice 3.